The SRL on the NFL. Previews, predictions, and analysis covering every storyline in football every week. The SRL on the NFL. What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to SRL on the NFL for week 9 of the NFL season, episode number 9. We're halfway there in 2024 through this NFL season, which is kind of crazy already. And, my New York Jets season is already over. So it's kind of crazy how that ends up happening. But I'm Brendan Yerkes, as always, joined alongside Alex Fatchaponte. We're going to get right into it and start with last Thursday's game, where the Rams at home were able to take down the Vikings. That's 2 straight losses for the Vikings, who started out 5-0. Controversial ending there, but the Rams pull away with that 30-20 the score.
Yeah, you look at Stafford, he was going crazy. He had 4 touchdowns, looking good there. Kyron with 116 all-purpose yards. Puka's back. They needed him back desperately. Kupp is back. So having these weapons back is going to be huge. They're probably going to start winning some games again.
Yeah, they're definitely a talented team. I picked them to be, I think, the 7th seed in the playoffs, even with losing Aaron Donald and losing some players. But it's just, there's a lot of veteran leadership. I think they're going to be able to sneak in. But then the beginning of the year, we were picking against them so many times because the team was so injured. And now, like you said, we're starting to see them upset this Vikings team. We'll see about the Vikings if they come back to earth, or they're still an elite team. I still think they're very good, but again, it's still a surprise from what we thought before the season. But yeah, 5-2, 2 straight losses. You never know what could happen. They could just be a pretty good team that had a great start, but we'll never really know for sure. All right, let's start the Sunday slate. No early game this week, but the Browns taking down the Ravens, pretty surprising, 29-24. Jameis Winston, 3 touchdowns, really good game from him, and I think it kind of might bring the Browns a couple more wins as we move further through.
I mean, yeah, he makes an offense interesting. Like, although he may throw like a bunch of picks while doing it, he'll keep your team in the game. He's gonna air the ball out. He's not scared about throwing the ball deep by any means. And he had 334 yards. Like, that's pretty insane. He's a leader too. Guys love to play for him. And yeah, I mean, they outplayed a Ravens team that had really been hitting their stride. So you got to give credit to the Browns here, even though again they're 2-6, they're probably not going anywhere. They pull off a great upset.
And if I'm Baltimore, I'm not really too concerned. Like, they really could have won the game. Jameis Winston threw it to Kyle Hamilton. Should have had the game-ending interception in his hands. He drops it. Next play goes to Tillman. It's a big touchdown, and the Browns take the lead, and that ended up being the winning final score. But yeah, you're going to lose games here and there. It's a tough one to lose. It's a division rival, though, so what happens? I think you bounce back next week. They had a good little streak, and I think part of it builds adversity too. Like, they didn't look horrible. Like, Lamar was still pretty good. Lamar, running game was there. They scored points. Like, I'm not overly concerned with Baltimore as they move forward here. Okay, so the next game, the Lions just beat the hell out of the Titans, 52-14. So I don't really much to say there. The Titans have been bad. I didn't pick them, as I should not, because they are not a good team. The Texans beat the Colts 23-30. The big storyline in this one was Anthony Richardson. Now, he's benched the rest of the year. Keep in mind, we now know that Joe Flacco is going to be the starting quarterback going forward. Gives him a better chance to win, but Richardson goes out, said he was tired, so then took himself out of the game, and then I think that's it for him. I mean, it's weird. Like, I don't know. Part of me is like, oh, you should just play him so you know what you have, and you could just ride out the year and say, we'll see if he's good or not. If he's not good, whatever. Because now you put Flacco. Yes, it gives you a better chance to win, but if you make it to the playoffs, you're maybe just going to sneak in and then have to play a top seed. Is that better than knowing if you have a franchise quarterback or not with your top 5 pick? I don't know. It's because obviously making the playoffs is what you want to do, but it depends on a franchise by franchise thing. But they want to make it. So I mean, Joe Flacco is a better decision now.
Yeah, no, Flacco is definitely the better decision as of right now. You can't be a quarterback in the NFL and then take yourself out of the game because you're not injured. I don't care the circumstance. I don't care if you're tired. I don't care if you're gassed. If you're injured, it's a completely different story.
Right.
But you're not injured. You're 10 of 32 passing. Like, you're not efficient at all, and now you take yourself out of the game. How is that a good look for your teammates who work so hard for you? So I'm glad that they actually benched him. I think he has a lot to learn, but I do think he has a lot of raw skills. I think that eventually down the line he could be a very good quarterback, but he's just not there yet, and he needs time to learn. And I feel like learning under a veteran quarterback in Flacco could be a really good thing for him in the long run.
I think even last year he shouldn't have started from the beginning. I thought that was a mistake because again, like you said, he has so much talent and skill. It's just he needs to sit and kind of channel it because he's one of those fast runners. He takes a lot of hits and very dynamic, and he has a very powerful, strong arm. But it's a little bit wild right now, and I think it's not a good situation to throw somebody into the fire like that. But it's very very strange. Like again, if you're tired, just like tell the coaches, like call a run play, just like take the play, take the play off. Don't pull yourself off and create a whole spectacle about it.
Right.
Like it's okay. It's like it's a sport. You're gonna get tired in the course of a game, and
Yeah.
just at that point, slow it down. You have a lot of playmakers. You can even throw a screen. Like don't
Yeah.
make yourself do something crazy on that next play, and then you can kind of recover a little bit and and move forward. So I don't know. It's all around a pretty crazy scenario because I don't think I've ever heard any professional athlete say that they were tired and take themselves out.
Yeah,
Usually
that's
they
just
power through.
yeah. You can't make that up.
But yeah, we'll see if he ends up getting back in at any point this year. I'm not really sure. The Packers pulled away against the Jaguars. You were almost right about this one. 30-27 Green Bay wins it. You had a weird feeling about the Jags, and sometimes you just have that feeling.
Yeah.
And they almost actually came away with it.
That would have been insane. Again, there was no real rhyme or reason behind it. I was just like, I don't know why I'm feeling the Jags, and they gave him a really good fight. Uh, although it just feels like the Jags every single game they're somewhat in it, and then they just end up losing it at the end. That's just what happened here. And yeah, the Packers are just a very solid team. 6-2 now. They're looking pretty dangerous, and I think the rest of the league needs to watch out for the Packers.
Something that's I think the Packers fans can be happy with, although that Jordan Love did not have a great game here. No touchdowns, just under 200 yards, which is still pretty solid, and the one interception. That Josh Jacobs got into the end zone twice. A big game for him, 127 yards. You need that, so then you could see our passing game's not really its best today, but the run game's going to pick up for it. We've seen games like a few weeks ago where Jordan Love had 4 touchdown passes, and then the run game wasn't really involved. So it's good that you have all those. The defense has been okay. I think at this point in the year, you're giving up 27 points to Jacksonville, but I think you're still, if you're sitting at 6-2, you obviously have to be doing something right. So they're still very much alive in that division race, coming up with a big game against Detroit. This one you did have right though. The Cardinals beat the Dolphins. Tua came back. They were up big early, and I'm surprised that the Cardinals were able to make a comeback and pull away. But it's just when you can get Marvin Harrison involved, get him a touchdown. That's what's going to happen. And Kyler Murray over 300 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and he's really shown himself as just being a solid quarterback. I know he's been under fire a lot, but since he's come back from that injury last year, I think he's been really good.
Yeah, and everyone was clowning him for probably playing Call of Duty this past weekend and
Oh, yeah.
thinking he was going to have a bad game. And he shows out for 300 yards, looking really solid. And yeah, I picked the Cardinals this week because I just thought that the Dolphins weren't going to still look like the Dolphins yet. Like, yeah, they're starting to get some of that continuity back with Tua obviously being back. It's definitely a big deal versus the backups that they were throwing out there, which were just
Right.
brutal.
Well, that's what I felt.
But yeah, also this is just a testament to the Cardinals and how their offense is just going to keep them in games every single game.
And that's a good sign moving forward because that means you could stick with Kyler Murray. He already has the contract, so you know that he could be your guy you build around. The offense looking good. Just make some changes on that defense, and all of a sudden you're going to be in some closer games. So I'm honestly shout out to Jonathan Gannon because everyone when they hired him was like, oh, the Eagles fans were pretty happy that he was leaving because they did not like how he handled the last couple of weeks of that season and then the playoff run to the Super Bowl. He's done a pretty solid job. They've been every single game, I think, for the most part, maybe except one, have been close games. The offenses look good, so just they can make some changes. He's a defensive-minded coach, get some more talent in there. They're definitely going to be in a pretty good situation. So good for them. But yeah, I thought the Dolphins were going to maybe just get that spark. They haven't won in a while. Just be like, oh, Tua's back. We're going to feel so much better about this, and then maybe uplift everybody. But pretty demoralizing way to lose there. It's my favorite time of the show. It's time to yell at the Jets. They're 2-6 now, same as the Patriots, who they just lost to, 25-22,
Nice.
because really a whole multitude of things. really, I'll start and say this. As bad as they've been, it's kind of ridiculous because if they had a kicker who can make a kick, and this is crazy because Greg Zuerlein was money the last 2 years. And I think I've already said this on this show. Money the last 2 years for the Jets. This year, they're in these games that are close and they need to win. What happens? He can't make a kick to save his life. Okay? If this guy make a kick against Denver, make 2 kicks against Buffalo, and make a kick or an extra point against the Patriots, that's 3 more wins, and the Jets are 5-3. Their season is alive and well going into November. Okay? And yes, there's a lot more problems besides the kicker. But that just shows how crazy it is that if they have a kicker that can make the kicks, they would actually be in a good situation. But other things, Aaron Rodgers can't move. He's clearly handicapped right now with an injury or something going on. Just the run game is like non-existent. The defense can't make the big stop like they used to anymore. I mean, I think that's really what it comes down to. Like the offense has been bad, but they've had their moments. But the defense last year was just shut down, and that's what kept them in games. And now they lost some talent, and they're just terrible. The coaching is a joke. The penalties are still bad. This team is just a bad football team. And again, like I said, they could be 5-3 right now, but they're not. You know, if they did a few different things differently, I mean, any team could say that they'd be in a good spot. But it just blows my mind how a roster with this much talent on it is this bad. It's kind of impossible, actually, how bad they are for how much talent they have on paper. But this is where we are. They're 2-6. The season is over before November. They have a worse record than last year with Aaron Rodgers. And I think now at this point, after losing to such a terrible, bad Patriots team that has looked so awful the last couple of weeks, they're just done. I think the GM is getting fired. The coaches and the entire coaching staff is getting fired. And there's going to be a lot of players out the door. Now, they could get this thing right again for next year. It's possible because maybe you draft a quarterback. Maybe you sign a quarterback. You still have your core players like Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, Breece Hall, guys like that. And yes, they've all had their own problems in different games, but you still have somewhat of a team that you could build around in the next couple years, or even for next year. But this year is shot. Everybody's going to be gone. It's going to be all brand new everything next year. So we're just going to ride out this year and see what happens and see how many wins they get. And we're back on Tankathon already before November. So what a time to be alive.
It's so crazy. It's just all of these players, you would just think, all right, there's no way the Jets are going to be the Jets again. And then they're the Jets again.
Say the line.
What's the line?
Same old Jets.
Same old Jets. I mean, it's sad, but it's true. Aaron Rodgers just doesn't look like Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, he has some type of ailment, like you mentioned. He can't be mobile. Although he's not like a scrambler, he can't be mobile enough to extend the play anymore. That's an issue. The defense is just not as dominant. That's an issue. And yeah, there's been individual players. Special teams, of course, has been a big problem. Greg Zuerlein should have been cut yesterday. He should have been cut the week before and probably the week before that.
Yeah, he should have been cut after the Denver game because that's the one he lost first. And then he let him lose 2 more games. Another crazy thing with that, if he makes the kick against Denver and I guess the Buffalo game is already gone. Robert Saleh might still be here if he makes that kick against Denver. Yeah. That's just one win that would be different. But then you never know what happens in Minnesota the next week. Like the vibes get lower when you lose a game. It puts so many words into my head that I can't even make out what I want to say with it. It's just like they shouldn't have as bad of a record as they do, but they do because they put them like it's not all in the kicker, but they put themselves in the situation where it becomes the kicker's fault, if that makes sense.
And again, though, like, how does he still have a job? Like
he's done. No, he's not playing this week.
He should be cut. Is he cut yet? Like, no.
No, they put him on IR.
Oh, they put him on IR. Oh, so now
so I'm like, so he's hurt now. So maybe he actually is. If he actually is, I'm sorry, but like, I
think it's an excuse for being bad. I mean,
I think so too, and I don't want to speculate, but it's weird.
That's just random.
And he's played for a long time. He's a good guy. It's nothing against him. It's just sometimes he's done, but it's crazy because the last 2 years he was one of the most consistent kickers the Jets have ever had, even though it's a small sample size in 2 years. But he was, for like a single season or 2 seasons combined, one of the best.
I know like some Jet fans of mine, Jet friends of mine, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, Greg the Leg, he's the best." They love Greg the Leg. They talk so highly of him, and now they want him cut too. Like they're done with him. It's just you have to get him out of there. At this point, it comes down to performance. Although, yeah, he may be a good guy and stuff like that. I'm not saying that he's not, but you have to get cut based on performance, and he just hasn't shown up this entire year.
Yep. definitely not. And like I said, whole season's different if he can make a kick, but it's the rest of the team's fault for being terrible. And I mean, you shouldn't even be in a close game with this Patriots team, anyways.
True.
Like for the
Right.
team with that much talent to lose to that New England Patriots team is just embarrassing, honestly.
It
It's
is.
definitely the worst loss of the season. But and it pretty much ends it. We said last week 2-5 pretty much ends it. 2-6 really will end it.
Yeah.
Let's move on because I could talk about this for hours. I think that was a pretty good rant, though. That's probably one of my
Yeah.
best ones yet, right?
Yeah. Definitely.
But yeah, because now I don't even know it might be the last one of the year because there might not really be a reason for it anymore.
Right. You just
It-
lost hope. Yeah.
It'll just be about the individual game, but it won't really mean anything.
Yeah.
All right, so the Falcons, they beat the Buccaneers. They go to 5-3. The Bucs now 4-4. Very on and off. 500 season's not over, especially in the NFC, but it's definitely strange to see because everyone was pretty high on them early on. And they're sitting at 4-4.
They're a streaky team. I mean, they're still looking solid offensively. Baker looked pretty solid. I mean, although he threw a couple picks, if he cleans up the mistakes, I think he'll be fine. Kirk though, Kirk's looking great. 4 touchdowns, no picks. We'll take that any day.
Oh yeah,
But again, the Falcons are kind of a streaky team too. They win a few games, then they lose a few games. We can't tell if they're good or not, but they're definitely a solid team. Both teams are solid teams, but we don't know if they're great teams. And I feel like that's where we're at. We're just kind of confused.
yeah. The NFC South is always going to be the same. I mean, it's always going to be weird, and you never know. It's going to be a different team every year. It's odd.
Yeah,
Let's move along here. The Eagles beat the Bengals 37-17. The Eagles are actually starting to wake up a little bit. They're looking better. They had a pretty rocky start, although they were winning games. I didn't really like how they looked from watching some of their games.
yeah,
I think they're starting to kind of look the part now and win games and definitely be the better team. So the Bengals fall to 3-5. Just I think we know what they are. They're just an average football team at this point. They started out. They're not as bad as they started out,
right.
but
Yeah,
I don't see a way they crawl back into being a good team. I think they're going to be like a middle of the pack team, and I think the AFC is so competitive that they're going to be just outside with the way this is looking right now. But you never know.
I
Especially doesn't help with the Steelers being good this year, so they can't really crawl back in as a wild card because it's already 2 teams from the North that are going to get in. But then
yeah,
but maybe there still is hope because you look at every other division, even though the AFC is competitive, like there's only like one elite team in every division aside from that one. So
it's a fair point. But yeah, that at this point, like they're probably just an average football team, and they already have 5 losses like to their record. It's going to be a tough road to definitely make the playoffs for this team. I thought if they were able to win this week, them being at 4-4, they could still kind of be in that mix. But 3-5 is digging themselves down a pretty substantial hole. Yeah,
definitely. So the Saints, I don't know what happened to them. They went 2-0 and now have lost 6 in a row. They lose 26-8 to the LA Chargers. The Chargers, I don't really know either. They seem like another pretty average team. They'll win, they'll lose. They're all over the place. I feel like they have no identity. I don't really know anything about them.
the thing that's like really surprising about the Chargers, which you wouldn't guess, they have like the top defense almost in the NFL. Like they're number 1 in points per game, and that's a big deal. They only let up 13 points per
And
game.
wasn't that the problem the last few years? Their defense and the offense was
Right.
good.
Exactly. I mean, their offense is kind of It's only around 19 points per game, which they look a little bit like more conservative now. It looks like they just want to pound the run and everything, which again isn't a bad idea if you're trying to open up the pass and you don't have any or as much pass catchers as you did in previous years, like Keenan Allen and Mike Williams and stuff. But uh, yeah, I feel like that's the only issue here is just getting Herbert more comfortable and more involved. But this defense is really starting to show up for them, and it's definitely gonna keep them in games, definitely. And letting up only 8 points to the Saints is pretty insane. I mean, albeit against Spencer Rattler or whatever, but still, they have pretty good skill position guys, and
Mm-hmm.
only let them score 8 is pretty impressive.
Yeah, definitely. They could also be a team that sneaks in as a wild card out from the West. You got to get moving along here. The Bills beat the Seahawks 31-10. They moved to 6-2. They're 6-2. Everybody else in the division only has 2 wins, so they're going to take that one pretty easily.
Yeah,
The Seahawks are 4-4. So the Bills proved me wrong again. Again, thought they were going to. They were losing some guys. They would kind of take a step back, but they've made do, and then now they've kind of made some additions throughout the season to improve. Commanders and Bears, I want to touch on briefly. Pretty slow game. Offense is not really doing anything. Commanders held to 12 points, only field goals for pretty much the entire game.
Yep.
And the Bears scored 2 touchdowns late in the game to take a late lead. But then right when it looked like they were going to win, one of the craziest NFL games endings I've ever seen live. Hail Mary, Jaden Daniels chucks it up, and it's just textbook. Everybody in the pile goes up. There's somebody in the behind there. Like, listen, you're the defender just smacking on the ground because you never know who's floating around. And I can't believe it. The Commanders find another way to win. Their only touchdown of the game as time expires on a Hail Mary. And it's really just, it's unbelievable. It was, what a scene. And I'm sure you saw the video, too, of the guy on the Bears who was talking smack to the fans. And then was the guy who the ball's hand went off of right into the other guy who caught it. Oh, my God. It's unreal.
Jaden Daniels needs to be in the MVP conversation.
Really?
And I think that needs to get established because this Washington team had zero, and I mean zero expectations going into this year. They were probably considered the worst team in the NFC East, or you could say maybe third or fourth, whatever you want to say. But they had no expectations with Jaden Daniels going in this year. They were hopeful, but they didn't think he'd be this good out the gate. I mean, they're 6-2. Like they're contender for this NFC East. They could easily win it. They're third in points per game. Who would have thought that going into this year?
Cliff Kingsbury's been awesome.
Yeah, it's insane. And Jaden Daniels has been amazing. Not only should he win Rookie of the Year at this point, I think he should be in MVP conversation.
I was going to say, he's going to definitely win Rookie of the Year the way this is going. Kind of like C.J. Stroud last year, but he might even be better because at least C.J. Stroud has some weapons. Like Jaden Daniels is making something happen. I mean, I will say, obviously, Terry McLaurin's there, and we've kind of finally gotten to see him and his full potential. He's always been very good, but he's never had a quarterback like this, and he's been phenomenal. This game, 5 receptions, 125 yards. So he's been awesome to watch. But yeah, Jaden Daniels, he could run. His arm is crazy. And definitely, if he's there for a long time, could stay healthy, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
So MVP, I've never heard that one yet. But
I think he should be in conversations. I'm not saying he should win it, but definitely in conversations. Top 5
it'd be fun to see. Broncos beat the Panthers 28-14. Panthers are 1-7, worst record in the league. Chiefs beat the Raiders 27-20. They moved to 7-0. Pretty close game. Another 2-6 team. So many bad teams this year. It's crazy. I think the sport of football is just regressing as we move on into the newer day. Sunday Night Football, 49ers beat the Cowboys. Cowboys almost had a chance at the end. I don't think the Cowboys looked too awful this game. They lost. They were down for most of it. They're actually probably they looked okay. They were the better team in the first half, I think. And then the 49ers came out early in the third quarter and came out swinging, scored a whole bunch of points, went up big, and then the Cowboys kind of clawed back. So, I mean, tough way to lose. You get the ball back at the end. You don't get a single yard on 4 straight plays. That's how it ends. But 49ers moved to 4-4. Cowboys are 3-4. Not great, but they're still alive. Could fight for a wild card. They have a bunch of games in their schedule that they should be able to win coming up. So, definitely something to look out for. And Monday Night Football. Steelers beat the Giants 26-18. Giants are also 2-6. Steelers 6-2. Probably the biggest shock of the year, but they always seem to be better than everybody thinks every year.
Correct. Yeah, that's always the issue. And yeah, with the Giants, it's just the same old story. I just don't think they have enough. I think they're enough to be kind of interesting to watch, maybe at least when Malik Neighbors is fully healthy and everything. But in terms of them actually winning games, I'm not expecting much out of them.
All right, time for the game picks. And who's starting it out on prime time this week? It's the New York Jets. They're hosting the Houston Texans. So hope everybody loves hearing and watching the Jets because they're going to be on prime time, not only this week, but next week too. For now, they could maybe flex it. I don't know what the deadline is for that, but they play the Colts the week after. But we're done picking the Jets. We picked them last week because they played New England. We picked them the week before, both of us, because we thought that they could have beaten the Steelers. That one wasn't as much of a guarantee as we thought last week. But after that, I don't think I'm picking them the rest of the season. So we're going with the Texans. We've had enough trying to make them seem like a good team. They're not a good team. And the Texans, although haven't looked their best lately, they're going to come in and, they're going to get back on the right track because they're playing the Jets.
And yeah, I'm getting sick of the Jets as well. I've been picking them a lot. And yeah, they're just not good. we recognize that they're not good. The Texans are just a far superior team at this point. Give me the Texans, and give me the Texans by a lot. Give me them by like 14 points or something.
Wow. This
Yeah,
is a bonus edition here.
bonus. Yeah, just to rip them. Yep.
Yeah, the Jets. I can believe you're sick of the Jets. How do you think I feel? All right. Dallas is going to Atlanta, so another road game for the Cowboys. And this is what I'm kind of torn about because I do like how Dallas played last week. However, Atlanta did get the win. Kirk did look good, and I think that Cowboys defense has just been struggling. And I'm going to go with Atlanta. I think just because they're the home team, I think that's going to matter in this game, just because they're both in a very similar situation. So I'm gonna roll with the Falcons here.
I'm gonna be going to Atlanta here as well. I just think that the Falcons play really good at home. I just feel like they're comfortable there. Kirk is really starting to solidify himself as a leader for this team. The players love playing for him. So yeah, give me Kirk O'Chains and the Falcons.
All right. We have the Dolphins and the Bills. Nice AFC East matchup, but it's going to go for Buffalo. They're at home. Miami's not usually good there, especially with the weather. And even with Tua being back, it's not really going to be much of a fight. I think Buffalo gets their 7th win of the year.
I'm gonna be going a bit of an upset here. I'm taking Miami.
All
Uh,
right.
I think last week they were kind of working out the kinks with getting Tua back into the offense, getting him acclimated again. And I think this week they're just going to fire on all cylinders again like they usually do. I understand that they're going into Buffalo. It's going to be colder. It's probably something that they're not used to. But yeah, I'm going to be going with the Finns here because I think they're finally going to have their offense clicking.
All right. Raiders and Bengals. I think this is a game the Bengals win. Raiders put up a good fight against Kansas City last week. They could probably do the same here. Bengals are at home. They got Joe Burrow. I think they're going to pull away. Like you said, they're an average team, so they're going to win some games. They're going to lose some games. I think after the loss last week, they're going to win this one, get one game away from being 500, and yeah, take the Bengals here.
I am also going to be taking the Bengals here. I just think they're just a more talented team on paper. I think that the Raiders are okay. I think they'll probably be somewhat in this game, but give me the Bengals here at home.
All right, another home game for an AFC North team. The Browns are hosting the Chargers. Chargers got the win last week. So did the Browns, but I'm going with the Browns here at home. I like how Jameis has looked in just that one game. Like you said, they could take risks because he's a very risky quarterback. That's the way he plays the game. And I think it helps this team. They're pretty much out of it. They love the coach there, and they love playing for him. Like you said, the Falcons love playing for Kirk. And I think when they could sling the ball around like that, it'll definitely help. Nick Chubb's been there, so I like how Jameis even though that defense has been good, that style of play of just kind of throwing the ball around has worked for the Browns so far with him in there. And, teams aren't really expecting that. So I think I'm going to take the Browns here.
Interesting. I'm gonna be going with the Chargers. I understand that they're on the road, but that defense has looked really good, and I feel like that is starting to become that team's identity. And I feel like it's gonna show through here. I feel like Jameis may have a regression game. He may not look as good because this defense is a very good defense. It's being slept on. Although there's not many household names, they're just all collectively playing really well. But give me the Chargers here.
I think the Browns also, I want to add that going into the year, I thought they would be a playoff team and better than they are. So I think they could also probably not make it because they're 2-6, but maybe kind of climb back to being kind of like the Bengals and a 500 team. That defense was supposed to be really good. They were able to shut down Lamar at the end of that game. So I think if they could start getting back in a rhythm here, especially with Myles Garrett, that they're going to be better, especially because that Charger offense hasn't really been too special lately. They had a good game last week, but overall nothing too crazy, at least the talent on that side of the ball. So I think this could be a good game for that pass rush to get going again. All right. We got another bad game. Yeah. Patriots and the Titans. Patriots coming off the win last week, so it's kind of calling for me to pick them. And I'm not picking the Titans anymore. The Patriots showed me something last week. I don't know what it was, but we don't know who's going to start right now. At least I haven't seen. But the Titans are the home team, but the Patriots, I think, get a little bit of a spunk to them now, a little bit something after that win. So, give them a road win in Tennessee, make it their 3rd of the year.
I originally was gonna go Tennessee, and then I quickly look at the game report, and like half of Tennessee's team is questionable. So yeah, no way, I'm not doing that. Give me the Patriots here. Yeah, I just think at this point they're playing better football. Even though their record is 2-6, I think that they've played better football than what their record says that they are. I think they should probably have maybe 1 to 2 more wins based on how well they have played throughout the year. So yeah, give me New England.
So this one's very unique. It's the Commanders and the Giants. And if we
Yeah,
look back to week 2, both these teams were 0-1 and projected to be the bottom of that division.
sure.
Now, week 9, the Commanders are, what are they, 5-4, 5 and
Six
3,
and 6-2.
6-2. All right, my apologies. And the Giants are 2-6,
Yeah.
which is crazy just to see how differently these things have gone.
Yep.
So I'm going to take the Commanders again. I think I picked the Giants last time just because they had to win. I don't even remember. That was such a long time ago. It feels like
I
now, but
remember picking them,
the
but
teams
yeah.
have gone in two different directions, and yeah, now it's just a completely different game. So I'm taking Washington.
Yeah, I would be insane to pick the New York Giants, so I'm not picking the New York Giants. I will be picking the Commanders. They've just outplayed basically everyone this year, and the Giants just aren't that good of a football team. So yeah, give me the Commanders.
Then again, you never know. The Giants do play against the Commanders well, so it could be a potential upset scenario, especially off a
Potentially.
big high for the Commanders. So it really wouldn't shock me either way. But I'm still gonna ride with Washington. I just think their offense can outduel the other offense. And I think a lot of these games, I feel that way. New Orleans and Carolina, Saints have lost 6 straight at this point. This game's in Carolina, but I think they have to get a win eventually. They're not as bad as 2-6. Um, and I know this probably is a good spot for Carolina to maybe get another win as a bad team against a divisional opponent, but I can't see the Saints losing this game, especially just the way they've looked the last couple of weeks. They need one bad, that Carolina defense is just ready to be picked on for that offense to kind of break back out.
Yeah, the Panthers are just obviously one of the worst teams in the NFL. I mean, they've looked a little bit better as of late under Dalton, but then now we don't know if Bryce is starting or he's starting. So there's a lot of turmoil there. Give me the Saints here, even though we don't know fully if Carr or Kamara is going to play. I'd still rather take the chance with them because overall they are just a better team. Even though their records are very close, give me the Saints.
Right, Denver and Baltimore. Baltimore is at home. I'm going to give them a bounce back game. Denver's look solid. Can't even say it's because they're playing the Broncos. They've been better than everybody's expected them to. But I think Lamar. Yeah, I mean Lamar is Lamar, as I'm trying to say. He's going to bounce back. That run game's going to get going again, and they're going to get back on track.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty surprising though going into this game that both teams have the same record.
Right.
You definitely wouldn't have guessed that going into this year, but yeah, give me the Ravens here as well. I just think they're just a better team through and through. But it's not to throw any shade on the Broncos. They have very much overperformed expectations.
Right. Chicago, Arizona. I was originally going to go with the Bears here, but Arizona with the big win last week. I feel like when I pick the Cardinals, they don't win. But when I
Yeah.
don't pick them, they do win, which is pretty interesting. But I like that offense more. I think that's what I brought it down to. The Cardinal offense, if it becomes a game where somebody's going to have to score a lot of points, the Cardinals could clearly do a better job. The Bears started to wake up towards the end a little bit there, but then a demoralizing loss. And I like how Murray's been playing. So again, they're at home too. So I think that is another factor. So I'm going to ride with the Cardinals because Caleb also hasn't been great. And he's a lot of low yardage, low completion situations. So got to go with the better quarterback on home turf.
Give me the Bears. I'm gonna be rolling with the Bears here. I just think they've been playing better football this year. Although the Cardinals are 4-4, which is pretty shocking, I think the Bears have also just looked better than people are giving them credit for. And I think it all starts with DeAndre Swift because he started to break out over these last 3 games. He's getting like over 100 yards rushing, which is great. And this Cardinal defense is bad against the run. They rank, I think, 26th against the run in terms of yards. So I think we should be watching out for a big DeAndre Swift game.
Yeah, and they need him to do that because Caleb hasn't been great, so they need him to kind of be the main force of offense and open up the pass game for them. Moving along, you liking the Jags again? They are in Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. I'm gonna go with the Birds here. Big win last week. I said they're starting to look like they should again, and now Jacksonville, who might put up a good fight. They've been playing better as of late, but I'm still gonna ride with the Eagles on home field advantage here.
Yeah, give me the Birds here, even though I hate to say that. But yeah, uh, they just look like a much better football team right now. And yeah, the Jags have been playing a little bit better as of late, but uh, the Eagles, even though they haven't looked like themselves, they still look much better than the Jags do. So give me the Eagles.
All right, this is probably the toughest game of the week to pick. Lions and Packers. I believe the winner will take first place in the division, if I'm mistaken.
So then,
Yeah, all right. So yeah, both
yeah,
teams have 6 wins right now.
correct.
So the winner of this game will take the first place spot by a game. And it's tough. I really don't know which way I want to go. I think I'm going to lean with Detroit. Now, Green Bay's the home team. They have looked good, but I think they were in a bit of a close game last week with the Jags, whereas Detroit pummeled Tennessee. Two bad teams from the AFC South they both had going into this matchup. And again, you could think, well, the Lions are going to do for a letdown. They had so many points, but I just think they're looking so good. And the Green Bay offense, it's never all on the same page. Either they have a really good rushing performance or Jordan Love has a really good game in the air. So I think because of that, I'm going to go with the Lions. I like how overall they've been the most consistent, the most solid team, one of them in the NFL, doing everything every single week. So I think that's going to ride in to this one, and they're going to get a big win in Green Bay.
Yeah, I'm gonna be going with the Lions here as well. I just think that this is like a statement game for them. To put the league on notice that this is one of the true contenders in the NFC. Uh yeah, I just think that they've been firing on all cylinders as of late. Jameer Gibbs and David Montgomery is the best running back tandem in the NFL. It's not even a debate. Don't even talk to me about that. But yeah, they're gonna dominate in the run game. They're gonna dominate in the pass game as well. Watch out for them. Give me the Lions.
All right, Rams in Seattle. Rams got the win last week. Seattle lose to Buffalo. I'm going to take the Seahawks though, home team. I know the Rams are starting to get back to form, but Seahawks are 4-4. They're in a pretty pivotal spot here, and I think I'm at this point. Home field advantage. I think that's what I'm leaning towards. Just another close game, at least picking for them. And so yeah, I'm going to go with Seattle.
Yeah, this is definitely a tough divisional matchup, but uh give me the
Rams.
Seahawks.
Oh, Seahawks.
Yeah, give me the Seahawks here for sure. I'm gonna be going with them because yeah, I just think the home crowd I think will play a big factor, and yeah, I think that the Rams are starting to get back. They're starting to look like themselves, but it still takes a while, or at least a couple weeks, to figure all that out. And I feel like this may be a game where they have some growing pains. So give me Seattle.
All right. Colts in Minnesota Sunday Night Football got flexed in. Vikings lose in that tough way last week on Thursday night. So now another chance at prime time. They're on home field. So I think this is something. Look, this is a big game for them. They were pretty much looked at as not going to be a very good team this year. Now they get a prime time spot flexed in. So I think they're gonna rise to the occasion. They're gonna do what they need to do. And I just think with Flacco, the Colts look better. But with everything surrounding them, I just think the talent there isn't nearly enough. And I like what Minnesota's been doing. They lose 2 in a row. They got to get back on track, keep pace in this division, and I think they will.
I think, yeah, I agree with you. I think that Minnesota is due for a very good game. I think that this is just a good matchup for them in general in terms of how their skill positions match up. And yeah, I like the Vikings here, especially with them at home.
Last game Monday night, Tampa Bay, Kansas City, Super Bowl 50. Which one was that? 51. No, 50 55 rematch, sorry. Looking back a couple years ago. Obviously Brady's gone, but
Right.
Buccaneers and Chiefs. Chiefs are the home team. They're 7-0. Tampa Bay not looking too hot right now. With the tough loss last week, they bounced back and forth. And like we say every week, we're not picking against the Chiefs until we have a reason to. So I assume we're both taking Kansas City to close this week out.
Yeah, we're both taking Kansas City to close this week out. I mean, is there really much else to say? And until the Chiefs gives us a reason to, we're not going to pick against them. I'm not picking against them now.
Yep, 49ers and Steelers, the two teams that are off this week. And that's it. Week 9 predictions in the books. I think we had a lot of similarities this week, only like 2 or 3 games that we had differences. But yeah, I think that's just the way the way the schedule lined up. Some weeks are very different, but I think a lot of things we're on the same page with. So yeah, that's going to do it for episode number 9, week 9 of SRL on the NFL. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to check us out on all our social medias. For me, it's at Brendan_Yerkes, BRENDAN_YERKES. Alex on Instagram at Alex_FACC02. Check out our SRL social medias at SRL.media on Instagram and TikTok for more stuff surrounding the show and unique content there. And yeah, this is SRL on the NFL, episode number 9. Thank you so much for tuning in.